Okay, so weight loss. It's as complicated as you want to make it. I suppose it can be very complicated or pretty straightforward, and I'm going to do what I can to make it as straightforward as I can. And I'm going to do that by using an analogy, because the really basic mechanics of weight loss are actually quite simple when viewed from the right perspective. So if you've ever filled up a car full of petrol or diesel, liquid fuel call it, you pull up to the filling station, or the gas station as the Yanks call it, and let's say your car is empty, and let's say your car weighs 1,000 kilos, empty of fuel. You put in 100 litres of fuel. A litre of fuel weighs, for argument's sake, a kilogram. So your car with no fuel in it weighs 1,000 kilograms. You put 100 kilograms of fuel into it, your car now weighs 1,100 kilograms. Fairly straightforward. And you drive your car around until it runs out of fuel, until it cuts out. And you weigh your car again. Your car will weigh what it weighed before you filled it with 100 kilograms worth of fuel. It'll weigh 1,000 kilos. But that 100 litres or 100 kilos of fuel that you essentially injected into your car, where did it go? Like most people, when I ask them that, they'll say that it got burned up, or that it got used, or that it got transferred into energy. And all of those answers are vaguely right. It did get burned up, and it did get used, and it did get transferred to energy. But more specifically, what happened to the atoms that came out of the tank in the petrol station, flowed through the tube and the pipe, and into your tank? The physical atoms. Everybody knows everything in the world is made up of atoms. So those tiny little things, what happened to those? And when I ask people that again, most people will say, oh, well, it got used up as energy, or they got burned, or it was used up in some sense. Now, the only way that those atoms could have been kind of destroyed to the point of not being there anymore is if your car is powered by either an atomic bomb, a nuclear power station, or the inside of a star. Because they're the only three places that I know of, at least, that can actually destroy atoms. Okay, an atomic bomb, split atoms. Okay, a nuclear reactor does essentially the same thing, only in a more controlled way. And a star is essentially a perpetually exploding atomic bomb in space. Now, your car isn't powered by any of those things. So again, what happens? The atoms, the physical atoms themselves. And what happens to them is they go out your exhaust pipe. That's what happens to them. You've often heard that, driving cars and burning fuel is bad for the environment. That's because you take something that's locked in liquid or solid form, and when you burn it, you turn those same atoms into gases. So when you use any amount of kilograms of liquid fuel, petrol or diesel, in your car, let's say it's 100. When you use 100 kilograms of fuel, you've added 100 kilograms of fuel into the atmosphere. Now, there might be a fucking half a gram here or there that dirties up the inside of your exhaust pipe and that clogs filters, and I'm no mechanic. I don't know the mechanics of internal combustion engines. Again, this isn't a degree course. This is just the basics of fucking weight loss. And when I ask people the same question in relation to their own bodies, what happens to food you eat? Like the food that you swallow, where does it go? And people will say the same thing. They'll say, oh, it gets used up, it gets burned up as energy, this, that, and the other. And they're right, and they aren't right. But when you pin them down on the specifics of it, where does the atoms in your food, where do they go? And the answer to that is twofold. 14% of them are lost through water, through H2O. And you lose them in your breath, in your tears, in flakes of skin that fall off you, in hair that falls off you, in your urine, in your ejaculate, in your feces, any way, in your toenail clippings, admittedly mostly through urine, excrement, shit and piss, basically. You know, saliva that you spit out, sweat and breath. That would be the overwhelming majority. But it's the overwhelming majority of the 14% of the atoms that you consume, which begs the question, where the fuck did the other 86% of them go? And the answer to that question is the exact same answer as with the car analogy that I opened with. The food that you consume, the things that you eat, 86% of that leaves your body through your exhaust pipe. Where the fuck is my exhaust pipe, Frano? You all said at once. Your exhaled breath, that's your exhaust pipe. In a car, you have air intakes and an exhaust. But in the human body, your air intake and your exhaust is the same pipe. It's the pipe that you inhale through and exhale through. So when everyone knows from school, say, you inhale oxygen and you exhale carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is heavier. The air you breathe out is heavier than the air you breathe in. If you sucked in and blew into a balloon, and sucked in and blew into a balloon, and sucked in and blew into a balloon, the air that you inhaled would weigh X amount, and the amount that you blow into the balloon would be more. I don't know the breakdown of the percentages, but the thing to remember, the sentiment, the gist, the thing that I'm trying to get across is your exhaled breath weighs more than your inhaled breath. That's where your food goes. So when you lose weight, when you lose body fat, I've lost 20 kilograms. Where did that 20 kilograms go? It's fucking not there, it's not there, it's fucking, is it in here? Where did it go? I exhaled it, or at least 86% of it I exhaled. The other 14% of it I excreted in the form of water, again through my tears and my breath and my urine and my excrement and sweating and all the rest of it. Breathing. Your lungs are essentially the engine in your body. Now we're not internal combustion engines like the engines in cars, granted. But, and this, what I'm about to say here isn't an analogy, okay? When I say breathing is combustion, I'm not saying that as a form of simile. It's not an analogy. I'm not saying that breathing is kind of like combustion. Technically speaking, scientifically speaking, factually speaking, breathing is combustion. It's what it is. Now again, I'm not a biologist, I'm not a chemist, and I don't know the fucking formula for all these different things. I have a very surface understanding of this stuff. But this stuff is basic science. It's been well understood for a fucking 200 fucking years. Everything that I'm saying in relation to exhaling your body fat, which is essentially what you do, is well known. It's not some secret that I'm fucking privy to. And you've probably been taught this in bits and pieces throughout school, but nobody seems to want, for some unknown reason, to put it all together in a digestible, pardon the pun, manner, in a way that we can fucking consume it and understand it. So the key to weight loss is breathing more, because the more you exhale, that's the more carbon you're offloading. Our fat in our body is made up of carbon. You want to get rid of a load of carbon in your body, you need to breathe more. Now, you can't just sit at home going because you'll hyperventilate and pass out. Okay? You can't just breathe out and not stop, because at some point your fucking lungs are going to collapse and you're not going to get in enough oxygen. Which begs the question, how do you make yourself breathe more? You make yourself breathe more by exercising. And that's why exercise is good for fat loss, because it makes you exhale more. It means you're offloading more carbon than you otherwise would. So one of the main big keys in losing weight is exercising, because you breathe more. The other fucking shocker is in order to lose fat is you stop consuming as much. So if you put in fewer amounts of carbon, which is essentially food, if you swallow less food and breathe more by exercising, you will lose weight exponentially. So the key to losing body fat, the key to losing weight, the key to becoming leaner and slimmer and not as fat and disgusting as you've become over the years is, shocker, exercise and eat less. Exercise more and eat less. What type of exercise? Anything that makes you breathe more. That could be walking up a flight of stairs. That could be fucking doing jumping jacks or burpees or push-ups or running fucking marathons. It does not matter. Whatever you do that makes you need to breathe more. Needing to breathe more is the key here. You can't just sit at home like a dope, okay? You have to do whatever it takes. It does not matter. Whatever makes you need to breathe more means you're offloading more carbon dioxide and you are literally losing weight with every breath that you take. The more breaths you need to take, the more carbon you're offloading, the more you're losing weight. It is literally that fucking simple. And on that note, I'll chat to you soon. Oh, before I go, I have a heap more videos. I try and put across as best I can in layman's terms shit that we all should know, really. And if you think I've done a good job of that, let me know in the comments. And on that note, I'll chat to you soon.